Well, good afternoon. Good morning for you, Jeff. You've got up early for us today.
Good morning, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm delighted to have Jeff Wiegopolan, who is the Senior Vice President of Learning and Development at Forbes Travel Guide. Jeff, what do you actually do at Forbes Travel Guide?
So I oversee a team of 20 executive trainers. And what we do is we go and we work with the best of the industry, from the hotels, restaurants, spas. We've gone into other verticals, like retail, aviation, residential, medical. And our goal is to take the best of the best in service, break it down a little bit so that way we sort of understand why something was impactful, and then share that with the rest of the hospitality industry. So I know that sometimes, Forbes Travel Guide and standards and star ratings could be really intimidating and really scary, but at the end of the day, this is just about providing a great experience for your guest. So what does that look like? What does that mean? How should someone think? It sounds very easy to just go up to someone and say, be anticipatory, but in reality, that's actually a very difficult thing for someone to do, to constantly think one or two steps ahead of somebody that they don't know. So how do you train someone's brain to think like that, give a global perspective on service? So we get to have a lot of fun, and that we are constantly supporting the hospitality industry. It's always a bright spot and makes me very happy to be a part of it.
How did you get into this business, Jeff? Were you born into it? Were you born into a hotel business, or did you discovered a liking for hospitality, in your teens? What was the evolution of Jeff?
Oh my goodness! I've been basically working in this business for my whole life, for sure. But in the 25 plus years, I've never not had a job in hospitality. From a front desk clerk to a dishwasher to a pastry chef to a bartender, a server, a dining room manager, from hotels to restaurants. I think hospitality is definitely in my blood. And I've been with Forbes Travel Guide now for a little bit more than 14 and a half years. And started with us as a restaurant evaluator, and then became a hotel, restaurant, spa inspector, and then became a trainer, and then obviously now in my current role. But back in the day when you used to evaluate, would just fly to a city and eat my way through it, and then transitioned over to a hotel, restaurant, spa evaluator. And during that time, I think inspected at least a couple hundred of hotels, plus restaurants, plus spas. So I think that my global count in evaluations my global count in properties is, I think, a little bit more than 800.
Very good. So we're talking to the expert then.
I hope so. Yes.
Very good. And now we're obviously, we're speaking remotely, and even if you were in the next street, we'd probably be speaking via Zoom. The fact you're 6,000 or 7,000 miles away is almost irrelevant, because we're currently in this lockdown period due to the coronavirus crisis. How is that affecting Forbes and Forbes Travel Guide, and how are you adapting to it? I know you've got a series of webinars coming up, which we spoke about earlier. Perhaps you can tell our listeners and our viewers what's going on with Forbes Travel Guide.
Absolutely. So, certainly in terms of travel, this has come to a full and complete stop. From our training team, we are on the road a whole lot. I think I flew a little bit shy of 250,000 miles last year. And, when you work for a company where travel is quite literally the middle name of your company, you're used to being on the road and being on site working with the team. And then, of course, just one day, the world just stops. Right? So since we can't travel and we're at home, there are no trainings, there are no evaluations, we still wanted to contribute somehow. And since we don't have a hotel to house medical workers, we don't have a restaurant to offer boxes of food, we were just thinking, what is it that we can do? And so I'm gonna steal a quote from a great hotelier named Herman Elger, who's the general manager of the Baccarat Hotel in New York. But what we do in hospitality is so important because we create memories. And so what we really wanted to do and decided was that the best thing that we could do to support the industry was to create a series of webinars called Hospitality Strong that would just offer some inspiration, some motivation, some connection back to what we do, and just help provide that larger sense of purpose.
Very good. Now, these, how many of them are there going to be? How long will they last? And is there any cost involved?
So they're going to take place every Thursday for the next 11 weeks. We're going to start with a hospitality in the new age, and that will be delivered by Jeff Arnold, Dr. Oz, Philip Boyan, who's our CEO, and Jerry Inzarello. And then after that, for the next 10 weeks, they'll be administered by the three current members of our learning and development team, myself, our Vice President of Training Services, Gina Taylor, and our Director of Learning and Development, Megan Torrance. They are completely complimentary. They're going to be about 30 minutes in length. And really all you need to do is just go to ForbesTravelGuide.com/strong and just register for them. But they are available for anyone in the hospitality industry just looking to grow, learn, be refreshed.
It sounds very good. Is it aimed at people? Forbes Travel Guide obviously has a reputation of exposing, if you like, the best in the industry, for the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-star diamond, this, that, and the other. If I run a little 5-bedroom bed and breakfast in the middle of Ohio, would these be appropriate for me?
Absolutely. There are going to be 4. We're sort of aiming the material for someone from an aligned level position, whether this is completely brand new or you just need a refresh from not being in it for a little bit, to management and leadership of how you can take some really simple ideas and be able to incorporate them within your own training when you're back online. And once again, the goal of our department has never been, go and do this standard, because that's not the way that people learn. That's not the way that people operate. So, I'll give a really simple example of something that we'll train on. But, to think about being anticipatory, we'll often ask the team of, what's an easier test to take when we're in school, a fill in the blank or a multiple choice? Well, the obvious answer is a multiple choice. Well, why? It's like, oh, because the answer is there. That even if you have no idea, you can still guess. So quite often in service, we like to ask the guest a lot of fill-in-the-blank questions, full well knowing that they're more difficult to answer. Like if you are a first-time guest at that 5-room bed and breakfast, and I'm delivering your luggage, and it's your first time staying with us, and I ask you, where would you like me to place your luggage? You don't know the answer because you've never seen a guest room. So what are you going to do? That little light bulb's going to go off, and you're going to have to start thinking and looking around. Versus me, I can just let you know, would you like me to place your luggage in the closet, or would you like it here on a luggage rack next to the bed? How many times have you gone out to eat and, you order a sandwich and someone looks at you and says, and that comes with your choice of side, what would you like? And then you have to ask, well, what are the options? So in a way of being anticipatory and thinking one step ahead, it's just about constantly providing almost the answer before the guest even have to think. So you can take those examples and place them into almost everyday life. You're probably going to start hearing them once we start interacting with everybody once again. But once again, just providing some tools and some resources and unique ways of thinking. So that way, when we go back and start working with our guests, that our service could be that much better.
Very good. So it sounds like these are some general principles that people could bring into almost any level of service industry. Some basic principles of service improvement, I suppose.
Yes, absolutely. That, once again, this is not about quote unquote standards, but just about how do we create a really great experience for our guest, our resident, our shopper, whoever it may be, that sort of the basic fundamental skills are there for everybody. Another example I'll often share in training is, if we can remember what it was like to go into a business, Harken back a couple months ago. But if you went into a business that you went into all the time, and the moment you walked in, someone recognizes you and says, "Welcome back," or "Hello again," how does it make you feel? Of course, it makes you feel valued and important and special. So just think about the power that someone has, that they can actually make you feel valued, special, important in quite literally 1 second.
Cool.
The moment, right?
Very, very good. I like it. The question really as well now with someone like yourself is that everybody says we're reaching the peak of the COVID virus in the UK, similar in the United States of America, other places have passed it. What do you think, put on your crystal ball and your prediction hat, and what do you think the hospitality industry will be like in 12 months' time? Do you think it will be significantly different? I think it was just more of the same, they would just bounce back and we'll just carry on repeating? Or do you think there might be greater emphasis on, for example, using local suppliers for food, being much more aware of sustainability and the environment, and much more aware of over-tourism in certain aspects? Do you think that we will be into a world of that nature, or do you think it will just be back to normal?
I definitely think it's going to take a bit of time for travel to bounce back. I think that, admittedly, until there's a vaccine, an antibody, or something, I think that people are going to be very hesitant on getting into crowded spaces, confined spaces, etc. Domestic travel is going to see the initial boost, but inevitably people are going to want to travel internationally. But I also think they're going to rely on those travel suppliers, airlines, hotels to really make sure that cleanliness and the condition of things is certainly up to par. I think in terms of the hospitality world, once again, I don't have a crystal ball, but I think it's going to be very interesting to see how just processes start to change. We could take a really simple one like in-room dining in a luxury hotel. Will a luxury guest want a server in their room, opening their bottle of water, arranging their silverware, or will they just want their table to be left outside of their door? Right? So it's going to be very interesting to see how the hospitality world starts to evolve. I think once again, it's a little too soon to tell, but when hotels open, I think they're going to open slowly and start to just adjust their service based on what the guest wants.
And do you think in restaurants, for example, that that they may be forced to sort of, for example, have 2 meters apart, 6-7 feet apart between tables? Might be difficult for Denny's, but for a lot of restaurants, where they can move tables around, there'll be more space because people would demand it.
There's restaurants are probably going to have to reconfigure themselves, but even things like a menu, will menus be completely disposable, or will you want to watch someone wipe down a menu with disinfectant? How willing are you to just even touch the other things that haven't been washed and sanitized? I think it's going to be a really interesting world once we get out of this.
Good. Well, thank you very much, Jeff. I appreciate you've got up early to speak to us. You're looking very smart, as I would expect. I'm a typical journalist with my T-shirt on, and it's very, very warm and sunny here in the UK, as I'm sure that people will testify. Finally, just keep safe. I presume you're working from home. You're working on Zoom like everybody else. And I look forward to seeing you, as people are even saying, on the other side.
Yes, thank you. Hopefully we are, my biggest hope is that we are all stronger for this on the other side, but obviously please come and join us for our webinar series. I think they're going to be really interesting, and we're going to have some lot of great resources and tools for the industry.
One question I forgot. What time of the day are these webinars? Will they be continuous? They'll be recorded, or can we join them live?
Well, they will be live. The very first one is at 12 p.m. Eastern. So I believe that's 6 p.m. London time. And then the following 10 will be at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So 7 p.m. London time.
Yeah, it's actually 5 hours. So it'll be 6 p.m.
5 hours.
Yeah.
All right.
6 p.m. and 5 p.m. But that's good.
Got it.
That's excellent. So it's all very comfortable for everybody.
Yes. All right.
Good.
And then obviously they will be recorded. And if you register, then you'll get even just come online and join us.
And just give us the URL again.
It's ForbesTravelGuide.com/strong.
Good. We look forward to them. Thank you very much,
All right.
Jeff.
Thank you very much, Graham. Be safe. Be well.
Cheers. Bye-bye.